Hey guys, so for discussion number 2, the contemporary trend that I chose was homeschooling. I got an article off of Google Scholar that was called Homeschooling in America, a Viable Option, and it was wrote in 2011. He really stated and pointed out a bunch of points about how the Bible is not accepted in the public school system and how morals have been changed since readings and teaching of the Bible has not took place. He said that the lack of quality academics and moral guidance in public schools has made parents seek homeschooling. And between the cost of private school and the cultures of the public school, homeschooling is the best option for parents that want their children morally taught. In 2007, 1.5 million families had switched to homeschooling. That was the record. And in the early 2000s, homeschooling really took off and became a very popular source of education. Many parents chose homeschooling because of the public school system, how it lacked the moral standpoint and not just academics. In 1962, the school prayer was abolished, and the moral and biblical principles that were being taught were replaced by humanism. They don't talk about how the creation and how humans were created and morally like that. It was banned from the school's curriculum. In 1982, Ronald Reagan investigated the public school system education, and he found that high school graduates were not competitive in the workforce once they graduated. He also stated how no child left behind could be a probable cause of why homeschooling increased the way it did, and also the greatest benefit of homeschooling would probably be the one-on-one learning. I could understand how that could be the greatest benefit because it is a lot easier when you have a student and a teacher rather than trying to accommodate 30 students to one teacher. He also stated how the government doesn't have control over how the students learn if you're homeschooled. I can see that, but also they still have rules to follow, so it's not all like you're on your own. He also stated how the child is safe from peer pressure if they're homeschooled, and how they still have laws or rules, like they have to take attendance, they have required curriculum and testing, they have to keep records of what they do, and they also have to report to a homeschool superintendent if things were to go bad or if the child's academic standing were to go down. He also pointed out how homeschoolers were in the top 85% of the national standardized tests in America, and how at the end of the day it really depends on how the parents want the child taught. Like if they really want a Christian base or faith morals and brought up bringings like that, then the best option would be like a Christian school or homeschooling. And I also think, talking about the rise of homeschooling, I think that COVID has, after everything goes back to normal, I know in my county we are doing the remote learning for the first 9 weeks, and I feel like homeschooling will actually become very popular since this pandemic. I selected this article on homeschooling because I've always wanted to learn how homeschoolers learn. I went to a public school my whole life, and I had friends at my church that were homeschooled, and they were always we would learn the same things, but we would learn differently. So when I went to their house, it was kind of strange to see how they were learning, so I figured this article would help me understand more of how they were brought up through education. In this article, I learned how the homeschoolers still have a superintendent. I guess I was just void to the fact, but I really never knew that they had somebody to answer to other than their parent or their teacher. This improved my understanding in homeschooling because I think the social point of it, I feel like when you're in a public school, you are in an atmosphere where you see people 24/7 while you're at school, and I felt like in homeschooling, all you see is like your family and that's it. But I learned that each homeschooler, most of them, it's not required, but most of them seek outside organizations and sports teams to build that bond with other peers in their community. So I hope y'all are having a good week, and thank you.